Alright, to test the code we just wrote in the last video, we need to log out as this guy and log in as a new person so that we can see the buttons here. Alright, so I'm just going to log out. Thank you very much. I log out, and then we're going to go to the database and see if we can see a user to log in as. Another user, that was John Doe admin that we logged out as. So we'll log in as one of our other users. So in this we have this is default user. Okay, so we're going to use this guy, default user, and the password. Okay, and we will go back to our code. Of course, our server is not running. Sorry, we're just gonna have to restart our server. And remember, this is what you use to restart your server. So we are not in the bin directory. So the way to go back from this bin to this raw PHP directly is like this, and then you run your last command again, and our server is up, and we refresh for the sign out. Then we're alright. Now we're signed out. What we're gonna do is to try and log in as somebody else. Password, and default user will sign in, and we'll click on this job application, and of course we have these two buttons. So first of all, we want to make sure that if this guy is applied if this guy has not applied, only one of these buttons need to display at any point in time. So it's either you've applied or you want to cancel the application. So what we're going to do is to just test this in for the first time. So we just click on this, and this rotating, it's opening, and of course we have an error, and we will resolve. Alright, this is simply saying that books doesn't exist, which means we messed up in our model. If you go to post application model, okay, class is post, and of course this is where we made a mistake. So we can even comment this out entirely, or we can just change it. Either way, raw PHP knows the table that you're referring to. Okay, so let's just tell it the table. We can say it is post applications. That's the table we're dealing with, and we can refresh our Control R and see whether it creates. So the next error says name raw does not exist. We don't have post view or twig. Okay, so let us go and fix it. So which means it has actually created, but it is having issue with redirecting to this. So just do a post name path for post.view. I think that's what it's supposed to be, because if we go to our model and look for post.view, alright, we have it. So this is what we're looking for, and we can refresh one more time, and it redirects us perfectly. Application submitted successfully. The employer will get back to you. Very good. So what we now want to do is, right now that we've applied, we don't want to see the apply for this job again. We just want to see only this one. All right. So, but first of all, let us confirm in the database that it worked. So we are going to go to the post application table in our database and see whether there's a record created, and then we inspect the record to make sure it works exactly. So we refresh twice. That is why we have this twice. Okay. And as you can see, it works. What we're going to do is to make sure that whenever we're retrieving this, only one button exists. So we're going to go into the post view method and check whether the user viewing this job application, whether he has applied. So what we're going to do is go to our post controller in the view method. In the view method, we're just going to get the list. Number one, okay, for now we're just going to say is user applied, or whatever you just want to call it, applied. I think I'll change this later on, but post application, we are trying to find if this user has actually applied, where user ID is the user ID is the ID of this guy that is viewing. So we're just gonna call it this auth. The guy that is logged in is the guy we're checking for, user and ID. So we're looking for we're looping through the post applications table, looking for where the user ID is, the ID of the user that is currently logged in. And we're going to also check whether the post ID, so we're going to do where the post ID is the current ID of the post. We're going to do post ID is the current ID of the post. The current ID of the post is saved in args ID. So we'll paste it here. And whatever is going to, we'll just say user application. Okay, cool. So we're going to pass this into, I want to give it a descriptive name. So as you can see, I'm still battling with the current user application. Okay, I'm still battling with the correct name to give it. So here we're just going to pass it into the view and say current user application is current user application. So if this is empty, we know that this user has not applied. But if it is not empty, of course, we'll display the application method. So if we go to our view right here, so we're saying if this is not the user, so we're going to do another if statement here again. So we're going to do this, nope, this, we're going to do if, cool, if this variable dot user ID exists, or we can just say if this actually exists. All right, I think this sorts it out. Then we will end if. So we will do the same thing. Okay, for now let's just check. Go refresh. Oops. All right, two things here. From what we have, we're retrieving a list. So basically what is happening right here is that we're searching through the post applications table for anywhere or everywhere where this criteria is matched. So this actually produces a list for us, which is not what we want. We want to check whether at least there is at least one occurrence of user ID that is identical to this guy viewing, and then the post ID is this post. So to get only one field, at least the first occurrence of this, we should just put first. So this is how you find the first occurrence of a search term. Okay, so with this our problem is solved. I'm just going to put both of them on the same line. Our problem is solved. So in the view, what we're going to check is if this user has applied, like here, we're just going to say if this user has applied, then he can cancel. But if not, let's see if this works. So if this user has not applied, they should see the apply button. If not, if they have applied, they should see the cancel button. So let's check it out. So this is the error we got. It's an unexpected character. That is because in Twig, if you want to check whether a character doesn't exist, what you're going to use is not this. You are basically going to say not. All right, not make sure that it checks that if this doesn't exist, then it will pull up this. So let's see. Let's refresh and see what happens. So I have not applied for this job position, so I have this button and the cancel is missing. But if I click apply right now, it refreshes, application submitted successfully, and oops. So I'll try and check what this problem is right now. Our application works well. It's just that what I visited then was a non-existent post. That was why we had that error. So see, post number 3 doesn't exist. So if we go to a database and look through the posts table, we'll see that post number 3 doesn't exist. That was why that button didn't work. There is no post. There is post 1, 2, and 4. So 3 doesn't exist. So to test it again, we'll just clear up whatever we have in our post applications table. I'm just gonna empty it so that everything we have applied will be gone. Okay, so it's now empty right now. So what we're gonna do is to refresh at least one page. I'll go to the 4th page and hit enter. So as you can see, it's telling me to apply for this job. So when I click OK, I click it, then what I have is I've really found the problem. The problem is that this application works, but then it refreshes and redirects us to a new post. So for instance, if we're in post with the ID of 2 and we click apply for this job, it applies for this job, but by the time it's refreshing, it takes us to the post with the ID of 4. So if we inspect our code, we'll see that we'll see where we made the mistake. In post controller, in the apply function, we created a new post application, all right, and then we are redirecting to the post with the ID of the application we created, which is wrong. We're supposed to redirect to the post that we received as an ID. So we are looking for let us quickly check the routes file for apply. All right, so the post ID, that is what we should redirect to. So if I come here, I'll say then the post ID. Yes, so this is where we should redirect to, and I'll do that too for this guy. All right, so we don't redirect to the post application but the post ID. So this sorts our problem. So if we click on apply, we will see that our application has worked. Okay, so I'll refresh this page. We're in post with ID 2. I'll click on apply for this job, then it applies. So if I scroll down, I'll see that it is what is waiting for me is cancel application. Now in the next video, we'll quickly sort out this button. There's just 1 or 2 things to check here and we're good to go.